No, this is not Star Citizen, but it is a game that is following in the footsteps of Star Citizen. Hello, my name is George, and today at GamesGG, before you play, we're going to be taking a look at Star Atlas. What is Star Atlas? Star Atlas is a next-gen gaming metaverse blending blockchain technology, real-time graphics, and decentralized finance. The game is set in 2060. Players join one of 3 factions for intergalactic dominance. Features include multiplayer space racing, dogfighting, exploration, and is accessible through the Epic Game Store. Players can build, craft, and engage in space combat, whilst also taking part in a governance system to shape the world around them. Star Atlas is currently in pre-alpha with a focus on immersive gameplay. What we're going to be taking a look at today is one of the game builds that they have out. They do also have other game builds out within their ecosystem as well. We're specifically looking at the one that you can find on the Epic Store today. As mentioned, the game is currently available on the Epic Store, although you do require a code to jump in straight away. Otherwise, you will be just met with the wishlist screen if you go to the store page itself. These codes are not difficult to get hold of at the moment, so you probably could jump over into their Discord and secure yourself a code with relative ease. Whilst it might be easy to get a code and then download the game from the Epic Store, it does get a little bit harder than that, and we will be touching on that later in this video. Unfortunately, it's going to be in the bad section, so stick around to find out what the issue is. As for the specs required to play this game, this is currently in pre-alpha, so obviously optimization is not at the forefront of the development, but already it doesn't take that high end of a PC to be able to play and enjoy some of the features that are in this game without experiencing too much lag or stuttering on your part. Now, let's jump in first to the good. As always, we're going to be looking at the good first, and looking is exactly what we are doing. This game looks fantastic. The graphics look great already, even in this pre-alpha stage, and as I have mentioned, surprisingly don't weigh on your system that much. So if graphics are something for you, this is definitely going to tickle that itch. Right now, there are varying game modes you can take part in within this game, especially if you go ahead and slide on to the experimental build, which is good to see that they are already planning out and building out a lot of game modes for people to enjoy, because space games do have a variety of players that enjoy them, so having multiple modes for everyone to enjoy I think is a really smart move. I will, however, be touching on these game modes in likely the updatable section as well. So stay tuned to find out what I actually think is happening with the game modes that are live right now. When you have managed to get the controls down, the flight can feel quite nice. If you have experienced games such as Elite Dangerous, you'll feel kind of at home relatively soon. Obviously, there's still a lot that needs to be worked out here, but I do think the flight is going to be something we can take a look at and think is going to be good for sure in the future. Sticking with the idea of movement, they do currently have a third-person shooter mode, which does have some fun movement within it as well, giving yourself some fancy little shoes that can jet you across the arena, which I did have a lot of fun playing with whilst playing in that mode. The final point I want to raise as a definite good feature is the attention to detail in the parts that are there already. When you're inside the showroom, there's a lot of things you can see and a lot of added extra detail that maybe you might miss at first glance, but it's something that really builds out the world and helps you get immersed. Same can be said as well for when you enter some of these ships. Some of these ships are massive, they are huge, and the detail to some of the rooms you can go in and check out is fantastic and really makes it feel like a crew is living there and piloting this ship, which I think will really help the immersion for players that are just looking to roleplay as an elite fighter within the star system. When there is good, there is always bad as well. And we're going to touch on the first bad point, which I think is a major flag for myself in not recommending people try this game out. As I mentioned, it is quite easy to get into this game through the Epic Store, but one of the #1 rules within blockchain is to never share your seed phrase. With this game, when you go to load up or log in for the first time, you are offered to connect your wallet, your hard wallet, or create a new wallet. You are then either going to have to put in an existing seed phrase or get a seed phrase from the game itself. I really am not a fan of this system. There's even warnings in the game telling you not to give your seed phrase out to anybody, but if you make this a habit of people being used to putting a seed phrase into the front of a game, then unfortunately in our space that's going to lead to a lot of bad actors and a lot of people being very upset when they lose their assets. Sticking with the theme of the blockchain integration that is present in this game, some of the ships have got a price tag to them, which is certainly absurd. I'm not sure if they have been selling for this price, but if this marketplace is to be believed and this is the price you'd have to pay to experience some of the content, i.e. the ships that are marked up this way, you're going to have to drop a lot of money to be able to enjoy all of the ships available in this game. While I am aware we can't really build an infinite universe within some of these Starship games, Star Atlas does have a problem with invisible walls. I would love to be able to boldly go wherever I please, and it feels like Star Citizen's walls are a little bit tighter than I would have experienced in games like Elite Dangerous. I will think that this is to do with the current build being pre-alpha and it will expand from then, but the walls themselves come rather randomly without any sort of in-game cues that you're about to hit them. Suddenly you will just not be moving. I think maybe some sort of visual representation in game would be a better way to do this rather than just stopping my ship dead. I've touched on the modes already and that there are a lot of modes that you can see right now that are going to be available for the full experience. Unfortunately, getting into some of these modes then are aggressively difficult to work out what you're meant to be doing. I have gone into the dogfight mode and the space race mode. I have played both of these modes previously and I was in a small little racer kart. Unfortunately, when I've gone into these modes again, I've not had someone talking me through what to do, and I have been unable to find what I was meant to do in both of these modes. I've been able to get into my big ship, but I really don't feel that was meant for these modes. So some sort of instructions are definitely going to be required within these modes, and I assure they will come later down the line, but right now it makes a lot of the modes almost unplayable unless you really dig in to find out, what am I meant to be doing here? We've taken a look at the good, the bad, now let's dive into the updatable. These are things that I think are okay now, but certainly need improvement in the later builds. They're nothing that is too egregious that I would call it bad. The first one is going to be the menus themselves. Speaking with other colleagues that I was having to download some content for me as well so that we could mix it into this video, they couldn't even find some of the modes I was talking about because the menu layout is slightly confusing. To get to the different modes, you actually need to be using E and Q at the top of the screen, which is very easy to miss if you are focusing on what the large imagery and the large text at the middle is going to be showing you. Whilst this game is in pre-alpha and is hidden behind that shield, I would say the modes that are available really do lack some content at the moment. For a while, most of what people were seeing from Star Atlas was just the showroom itself, which was a great way just to see the ships you may own or the ships you might be wanting down the line, but unfortunately it didn't really get deeper than that. Playing in the shooter mode, the third person mode, it kind of feels like a bolt-on, which it really is, which is great for those that do enjoy this genre but also want to be part of Star Atlas, but it doesn't really have any depth to it at the moment. I think this is something that will be built out later when they come with new versions, and as I've said before, the third person shooter has got some lovely movement in it thanks to the rockets you get on your ankles. One thing that is already available within the game is to see the partnerships that Star Atlas has made itself. This has been displayed within ship cosmetics and ship skins, and I think if they continue down this line, it's going to really make the world feel more immersive. The same way as if you are seeing billboards and other such things in real life, you're going to see them in the game and recognize maybe other games and other projects you have used already and be like, yeah, this feels like a real world I'm living in. So I hope they continue expanding on what they've already built like this in the game so far. So what is my current verdict? I would say right now, don't be in a rush to play Star Atlas, but definitely make sure it is on your radar for something you are looking out for. Like I said at the start of the video, this video is around the build of the game that you're going to be getting through the Epic Store. Star Atlas does have other games browser based as well within their ecosystem, so there is stuff out there for you to do within the Star Atlas system right now. But as for the game you're downloading from Epic, you might have a little bit of FOMO, but right now there's nothing too much in there you should really feel down about missing out on. But in the future, this might be one to watch out for. If you have a game you would like to recommend and think that we should be checking out before you play to let others know what the current state of a game is, whether that's good or bad, please let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on those notifications, as we have a lot of content coming out from this channel about everything to do with gaming. And I will see you next time. Until then, goodbye.